Okay, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Okay, this is probably the last proper content for pressure groups. What I might do uh, early next week is do like a summary of what I go through today. Also, I might have a quick look at some potential exam type questions as well on pressure groups. Have a quick chat about those. So there'll probably be this video, then there'll probably be one more, which is kind of like a summary of recent lessons and potential exam type of stuff. Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen with the exams yet, so we'll just crack on with this. So last time we were looking at pressure groups. We've done all about lobbying. You're supposed to have done the comparative work on the methods used by pressure groups, which should be pretty straightforward. So today, very quickly, what I want you to do, there's a comparative table called Why Might Pressure Groups Have More Influence Over Politicians in the USA compared to the UK? And on the left-hand side, I put on the various reasons as to why pressure groups in America might have more success with politicians. So you've got number of access points, which is places where they can meet MPs and government ministers. Frequency of elections could be an area. Weak political parties. So this is the idea that in America the parties are much weaker. They're very much more broad. They're less kind of controlled by the centre. So that might allow pressure groups a way in perhaps into politics, whereas in the UK parties are much more tightly controlled by a very strong leadership normally, very strong whipping system, etc., etc. We've got civil rights and liberties being protected by the Constitution, codified Constitution, and then any kind of cultural reasons why. So America perhaps has a bigger tradition of pressure group activity. So you need to use your brain for that one. Okay, have a think about it. And think as many reasons as you can as to why that factor would help US pressure groups have more influence than UK ones. And again, if you can think of any, put some examples in there as well. Okay, and then the final part kind of sums it all up really. And this is again, be careful in the exam on this type of question because a lot of students tend to do pressure group questions on the exam because they think it's easy. And on the old course, this question will come up quite often. Are pressure groups good for democracy or bad for democracy? I think with the new course, they seem to like putting two things together, so I'm not quite sure they'll ask it quite this direct. They might say, if I the view that pressure groups are better for democracy than political parties, say, or I don't know, something like that. I can't think exactly, but it's on that more on that kind of lines. Anyhow, you need to, when you're doing questions about are pressure groups good or bad for democracy, one problem tends to be is that they often seem to end up being just like there could be a UK question basically with the NRA shoved in as an example. So you need to make sure it's an American and fit into the American system. So you need to think about how you need to kind of include like presidential stuff and federalism and all that kind of stuff. So the table you've just done might give you some help towards this. And in fact, these previous couple of lessons we've done about lobbying as well can fit into this, can't it? For not being good, perhaps fit into this area. In terms of the textbooks, the Bennett book, page 341 onwards, has a nice bit about pressure groups being good and bad for democracy. The Edexcel textbook as well has got a bit in at the end of the pressure group chapter. There's a book by Jenkins. It looks like that. Okay, it's actually new out last year. I've actually scanned in just before we kind of had to leave college. His chapter on democracy and participation. He's got a nice bit. I think it's a he or a she. Anyway, he or she. Actually, it's a she. It's Sarah. He or she has got a nice bit about pressure groups and pressure group activity. And that is on Moodle. It's in the textbook section. You got the pictures of Bennett and the rest of the books. It's the last one, or there's no picture of the textbook. So use a combination of those three sources and your brain and what we've done over the last week or two to think about in what areas are pressure groups good for democracy, do they promote pluralism, etc., etc., and in what ways are they not very good for democracy, they ensure elitism, etc., etc. So if you can do that for me for next week, and then as I said, next Monday or Tuesday, I'll do one final YouTube thing where I'll basically just go over this stuff and I'll have a little chat about some potential type of questions, potential type of 45-mark question, not 45, 30-mark questions, which they might ask you on pressure groups and pressure group activity and the types of things that you can talk about.